Hello out there, sports fans. Welcome to our podcast today, The Brand and the Source. This is Coach Eric Johnson, The Brand.
It's Coach Aaron Thigpen, The Source. Good morning, EJ.
Morning, Mr. Aaron.
I know there's a subject that's been running through your mind that's pretty pertinent and so funny because I actually had a discussion with a parent about this yesterday. So tell them what's on tap for today.
I will, Aaron. Our subject today, Aaron, is do you have the D1 mentality now in this environment? And that's what's changing. The landscape has changed for incoming freshmen going to college. And I think you said this before, you have to be ready by the time you leave high school if you want to play collegiate sports. So that's what we're going to really, talk about today, Aaron. And my experiences, not only the past, 20 years in this, 30 years we've been doing all this stuff, but I think our experiences have changed over the years because of the regulations by the NCAA and all of this transfer portal. So I think we're going to talk a lot about this today, Aaron.
Yeah, I was just telling you about, a conversation I had just yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to a client about, a kid that I hadn't seen in a while and was asking how he was doing. And he was mentioning that the kid was going to a junior college and, just telling him, hey, the method of operating like things that pre-COVID is completely different. Junior college used to be that kind of that way station or that middle ground for athletes who didn't get any scholarship offers to go and continue and develop. And I think that's still the case, but the entry to that is a lot different now. And the landscape that they're facing when they get to, whether it's a college, a D1, D2, a full college program, or even a JC program, is completely different with, the transfer portal and guys bouncing back. It's highly competitive. And to just think you're going to slide onto a junior college roster just after playing high school baseball, I think you're not living in today's reality because those slots are very competitive, I think. And yes. A lot of kids who are just going to kind of, ride the bus and then think they're going to get off and just say, okay, well, now I'm going to go play JC ball because maybe I'm not ready for college ball. Really, wake up call. JC ball is college ball.
It is.
With the talent that's bouncing back and changing, going through the portal and waiting to, these guys who are older, they've got 1 year of experience on them. Again, bounce backs. You're 17, 18 years old. You've got to compete with that. The guy who's got at least 1 year of college baseball experience and 3 or 4 years of maturity. You've got to up your game in high school if you're going to be ready. If you're going to have a chance, give yourself a chance.
Yeah, Aaron, our company is a college development program, and wow, it really starts your freshman year in the high school now of having a plan that gets you to, by the time you're a senior, gets you to playing college baseball. And, all those guys are just waiting, guys, gals, or whatever. If we're just talking baseball, if you're waiting at the last minute of your junior year to say, I got to up my game, you're late. You're very, very late and behind the curve. And if you're a high school athlete, like you said, and you're thinking you're just going to walk into there and think that you could play junior college baseball, let alone, Aaron, what if you have a scholarship at a place? You committed, and your national letter of intent's coming, and you just think, hey, I'll be good until, I can do what I've been doing. I'm good. And you think you can go on that college campus and play right away without really having a plan and being what I call prepared and game ready, battle tested, not only on the field, but what about just your training regimen that's outside of the field. Do you know what it takes to do that at that level? I had an interesting visit, Aaron, in North Carolina 2 weeks ago. I was lucky enough to get a tour of Campbell University. Now, have you ever heard of Campbell University out of North Carolina, Aaron?
No.
Did you know that they were a top 15 school last year in Division I baseball? And, they were one win away from doing some damage at the Super Regional and getting to, the College World Series. You wouldn't think that, right? It's in Lillington, North Carolina, a town of 1,000 people. Okay. And this Division I power is beating up on the Dukes and the North Carolinas of the ACC and battling, against these schools that are prominent. Now, they won the Big South last year. That's what conference they're in. They're moving into another conference this next year. But my point being is, when I went on that tour with Jeff Calhoun, their assistant coach there, and I looked at their athletes and the commitment, it's 2 days before school has even started. These guys are already hitting. These guys are already in weight programs. These guys are already like ready to go, like it's the first day of the season. And the interesting thing, I asked them about their incoming freshmen. And Jeff, Coach Calhoun, told me this. He said, we like to have them here 5 weeks before we even start to get them acclimated with just being here on campus. It gets them acclimated with our strength coach, our nutritionists, our academic advisors. We give them a 5-week course before school has even started to get them used to what we're doing at our university as a college baseball program. And I said, what a great idea. But I saw those guys and went, whoa, those freshmen look very ready to go, and they have a whole regimen for them. And I look at what we see out there, and we see athletes that are saying, I'm ready to go. Hey, Aaron, they're not ready to go. I mean, they think they are, but there's another side to the story. And it's our subject is, do you have the D1 do you have that same D1 mentality in this environment? The environment's changed. 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, they maybe weren't doing that pre-COVID. They weren't doing that as much. But guess what? Everybody's up the game. The portal's changed. You're getting a more competitive athlete. You're getting bounce backs. You're getting guys leaving Division I program to another Division I program. It's so competitive that if you are a high school player and you think that it's easy to play in college, let alone D1, D2, D3 during college, wake up call should be on this podcast. And we're telling you, hello, you need to really be focused at what you want to do and committed to the process. The process is working when no one else is watching you. It's not like, okay, I just come here once in a while and do it. But that mentality has to change. So that's why we have this subject today. Do you have that mentality now in this environment to compete in really collegiate baseball? That's my little story. That was my story for you. That was the most interesting thing to see these committed guys and talk about how strong they had to be to hit the ball. If we're just talking hitting, Aaron, they're looking at 95 miles per hour exit velocity at 18 to 29 degrees. And that's all they're doing in batting practice. They have these sensors on their bats, they're blast sensors, and they're in BP. Every cut means something, whether they're taking it off the tee, soft toss, everything is measured. So they're always trying to get to those trademarks or those benchmarks, in batting practice and in the game. They're trying to repeat it in practice. They're trying to repeat it. So when you get in the game, they can just go. So I thought that was a very interesting tour. It was good, great insight about Campbell University out in North Carolina that no one really has heard of, but they're a baseball power. But you know what? They're going well beyond what you would think what happened on a college team. They're not. That's just the normal now, Aaron. It's the normal.
I agree with you. I always talk about athletes have to be college ready in high school, so they can make that transition. And I just not sure if athletes really know what that means. I always try and describe it this way. If you're on your high school team and you look like 95% of the athletes on your team, you're probably not college ready.
Right.
Because you got to remember, the average high school baseball player isn't going to play college baseball. So if you look and you perform just like everybody else on the team, unless you've got a team that's stacked with D1 athletes, you're not ready. There should be a degree of separation. And, that means probably doing more, and not just doing what's asked of you. So it's an important factor, and it's not something that you just jump on and say, okay, my junior year, now I'm going to get serious about this.
Right.
Unfortunately, now we're at the point where you've got to be planning this stuff out your freshman year.
At least, right?
Yeah. And I'm talking to kids now, whereas before I'd more than likely say, hey, freshman year, play multiple sports, have some fun, do some things. Now it's kind of like, I don't know, man. You're rolling the dice because you might need that year. Whereas before it was, pretty pat for you to be able to go and do those other things. Now it's kind of like you're adding a little more risk in terms of being ready in time, or being that dude that they're going to be looking for by the time you're a junior or a senior. So,
right.
I don't know. Just kind of sounding the alarm, because it is, like I said, that landscape's changed and it's just a lot more competitive. And if you are a freshman and you can't compete with, varsity guys now, it's going to be the same thing if you don't do much and you're a high school varsity guy trying to compete with college guys. That separate degree of separation is still going to be there. So it behooves you to figure out, how do I close that gap? What do I need to do? And it's going to look different on every athlete, but just towing the line at your high school program, even though, there's some pretty good high school programs,
right,
may not be enough.
No, I don't think
outside of the pond,
I don't think it's enough anymore, Aaron. I don't. And at one time I thought it was, but I don't now, being out there really in the trenches. And I always say I'm in the trenches because that's where you can kind of see where everything's at. When you're kind of up, out of the way, looking at the gloss, it's not really like that. Being on the field, talking to coaches, talking to players, watching players, evaluating players, it's nothing like that. And talking to all college coaches from all levels, they're looking for uncommon players. You said it. You have to stand out on your high school team, and you have to be an outlier. If you're not, then if you're looking like everyone else, as you say, then it's going to be very difficult. And I really believe that. And, when they train with you or myself, we're looking for that uncommon player that's willing to take instruction, understand the process. It takes time. There's a lot of no's, there's a lot of yeses, but just you got to understand that it is a process, and there is trial and error, and you got to be all right with making mistakes to grow, to get better, and keep on, keeping at it. Back in the day when I was playing, which was a long time ago, you just kept at it. You were diligent. You were nonstop. I think of one of the guys that you and I trained, Chris Carter, and it just comes to mind that he was just relentless, And you got to be relentless when you train, and you got to be relentless when you're out there battling in games, trying to be an uncommon player in this environment and having that right mentality to compete at this level, Aaron.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the reality is this: all of these clubs want to be competitive. And if I'm a coach, if I'm coaching now, and it's like, well, do I take this 17-year-old who may have some promise, or do I take this 22-year-old who's got already shown me at least that they can compete at the collegiate level? Then if I want to win now, who am I going to pick? I can't wait for this freshman to ripen on the vine for maybe 2 years. And that's something that's even accelerated now. The whole, okay, I'll redshirt a year and then maybe I'll be ready. I don't even know if schools are offering that opportunity anymore. I mean, maybe to a select few that they really see something in and want to invest in. But again, it just seems like things have been accelerated. And I'm not sure if the kids at the high school level are accelerating what they're doing to be in a better position earlier, so that they are what these schools are looking for. I can take my own experience and say, man, if I was in this environment now and it was like this with track and field, I wouldn't have went to a 4-year college school right out of high school. It would have been too hard. The level of athletes that were already there, I mean, it was already hard for me when I got there back in the day. Imagine now when there's even more athletes filling those voids for these schools, and them having the easy access to be able to pick and choose some of these guys and plug and play. It's not plug and then wait for this guy. It's like, boom, I got a guy who can instantly provide me with some tangible results. So that's a sobering, should be a sobering reality to a lot of these kids out there.
Yeah. Aaron, I don't know. I beg to differ. I think you would have adjusted and got after it, man, knowing you.
I had no choice. I had no choice then, but I'm just saying it's so cutthroat now, whereas they may not have waited a year for me. They may have said after that first year, you know what? We're just going to pull this guy over here from this JC, and back in the day, they did do that,
They did do that.
But they might say, hey, look, scholarship gone. We're going to just go with this guy for the next couple of years, and you're just out of luck.
Well, did you didn't redshirt?
No, I didn't redshirt.
So maybe another podcast idea is, hey, do red shirts exist in this environment?
Yeah.
Because that's a topic I think we can talk about, sometime later about this. But, I kind of look at this to where, we played in this era that you have to be really good to play. And I'm not saying guys aren't really good now, but I'm going to tell you, if you wanted to play as a freshman, when I was playing, I played for a tough guy named Al Ferreira. And I remember I was, went to De La Salle, was, all this, all that, all state, all this. I went there and they had All-American shortstop, Dan Clark. And it took me not only the winter, it took me 3 games into my season before I could replace him my freshman year. I played 67 out of 70 games at shortstop. And it took that long for them to believe in me, but I had to keep producing. I had to show them that I was ready. I knew I was ready, but I had to show the head coaches, the assistant coaches, my teammates that I could handle all this. I knew I could, but do the guys have the mentality to deal? That was like 5 months of like battling every day at practice, competing every day. There wasn't a day I could take off and just say, I'll go easy today. It was, I was on go every practice, every scrimmage, every inter squad game, every game. Anytime we played somebody, I had to be the best in order for me to have confidence, or my coach to have confidence in my ability to play. And do athletes have that today, that mentality? Because that's what it's gonna take. You know, they're not gonna wait on you. If you have a scholarship, say you're a committed junior, or you're a committed senior, they're not waiting on you now. It's like you have to be ready to go. Or like you said, portal, I'm gonna go get that junior, I'm gonna get that sophomore. That might be the sixth guy at Vanderbilt, but he's not even going to SEC. He's coming back to a mid-major. He's going to St. Mary's College in Moraga now. Mm-hmm. You see, that's what people don't understand, that Power 5 guy is coming back to the mid-major. And the mid-major guy is going back to D2. And the D2 guy is going back to D3. And some of those mid-major and D1, D2 guys are leaving and going to junior college baseball to see if they can get the chance of playing, to show somebody they're worthy for 1 year. So every year it's a 1-year contract. Do athletes out there in this day and age, in this environment, have that mentality to compete? Is the ultimate question, Aaron.
Hey, I would agree. I can't add anything more to that. I'm just glad I'm not in this atmosphere, because it's a tough one. It's very tough. And I think the biggest thing, the takeaway for this is get ready early. Get ready early. Be that guy before you leave high school. Look like that guy before you leave high school. Have the mentality of that guy, that D1 mentality, before you leave high school.
Well said, Aaron.
Yep.
And with that, that's a wrap today. This is The Brand, Coach Eric Johnson.
And this is The Source, Coach Aaron Thigpen. We'll see you.